What is up? Welcome back. Today's day 3 of daily uploads for set 12. Your boy is back. And what other better way to start off your third day of daily uploads than a little bit of housekeeping? Welcome back to Project PBE. And I know you might be tired of me saying it, but listen, I got a bit of an update for you guys. We just finished the first half of our event. If you don't know what it is, it's a third-party ladder rank grind system that we've devised that is basically taken across the fucking world. We're doing this globally. Top players from everywhere competing on this ladder grind, and they just concluded earlier today at noon. These are our top 24 players who are participating in the tournament that we are hosting on stream Saturday, Sunday. It's gonna be super lit. We got players like For Cash, rank 1 global from set 10 Brazil, Darthnub, rank 1 North American, set 9, YYGO. One of the best players, in my personal opinion, when it comes to knowing what is good and executing it flawlessly. Hui Yuan, very well-known Chinese player. Yatora, rank 1, also globally, rank 1 Russian player. Weibo Gaming Kezi, YBY1, Zeta Kez, Yataro. We got the Japanese boys. We got Lab004 Rain, a very, 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 very strong player in the North American scene. I'm super, super glad to have her for this event. And just, again, so many incredible players and fantastic gameplay that's going to be seen over during the tournament. Again, it's going to be on Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to come check it out, you know where to find it. But anyways, let's get on to today's VOD review. Okay, so here we go. We are now inside of Rain Plosion's game, who again is participating in Project PBE and playing in the first ever Project PBE Mages. Okay, enough adge. Looks like we are inside the completed Anvil portal, so that is a pretty good portal, very competitive portal. Low variance, which is really nice. Sometimes you can get items that are... Is she playing Genshin Impact? Oh, she's playing Genshin. I don't know. I saw where she plays this game, and I was like, I want to VOD review, but I haven't really watched. I think I skipped around. I didn't notice that she was playing Genshin during stage 1. That is that's kind of interesting. Wow, top player type of gameplay. But looks like she closed it, so she's locking in. So let's actually talk about the game now. So looks like we're sitting on an Ashe pair. Nothing that's really leaning us towards a specific direction or not. We are holding an Akali as well, which, if you don't know, Akali Neela is a pretty common reroll combo that is currently pretty popular, which are both 2-cost AD melee carries. Looks like, interestingly enough, she actually doesn't make 10 here, but with the sword start, I can kind of understand why. And this is kind of interesting that we're already making these decision points. You could have made 10 there for certain, but we actually did not because we got the sword. Now, if you don't know anything about the current meta, it's way more AP heavy. Like, everybody prefers more AP. There's way more AP lines that seem more viable at a higher cap. And when it comes to AD, it really just feels like Akali Neela. And some AD lines like Kalista, but they don't feel as good or as impactful compared to the AP ones. But we can talk about that a little more in just a little bit. Let's first talk about our augments. And again, set 12, bunch of new augments. So we'll go a little more in depth with each one. First one, Stars Are Born. You know that is High Voltage and Spoils of War. So High Voltage, brand new augment. Gain an Ionic Spark. Your Ionic Spark has a plus 6 hex radius and does 25% more damage. From what I understand, at least from the current meta, this is actually a pretty solid augment, especially, you can take it as like a tempo augment, but it's also just good whenever you need shred for your board in general, so it's pretty solid, to be completely honest. But our items, again, it's a 2-component start game, so we only have sword and a cloak, so it's tough. You can't really like force AP from a spot like this because none of our components is that good for AP. Like, sure, cloak is half a spark, but then we're getting a spark out of High Voltage anyways. It's tough. Normally with an AP opener, you'd like probably auto click it, I think, but in this scenario, because it looks like we're going to be playing more towards 80, I would not. Spoils of War is probably what we're leaning here. I don't think anybody has really found any success with Stars Are Born ever since like the Legends like came out in set 9, but I could see like maybe if the early units are good, we could maybe take Stars Are Born, but usually it's never really that great. So I'm not the biggest fan of taking Stars Are Born here, so I'll reroll middle left side here for sure. And then, I don't exactly remember what Rain ends up doing here, but let's see what she does. Okay. Rerolls middle. Fast forward. So it looks like fast forward. After casting an ability, Chronomancers gain 25% attack speed, 15% Omnivamp for 3 seconds, gain as Jax and Zillion. I can't speak on the strength of this augment. It's really more, that's more of like a tactics.tools question once the set comes out. It's a little too specific that it's hard to gauge the strength of it, like realistically, unless you play like a crap load of Chronomancer. Let me know what you think, but personally, I just wouldn't click it just because I don't, it's hard to gauge, and it's way easier to gauge just power strength once the stats come out. So I would not click middle, and also we just don't have any Chronomancer units. Like, why would we click that when we don't have Chronomancer? I would definitely re-roll left side here as well. We got Molten Caramel, or Caramel, depending on who you are. Rumble's Hero Augment, brand new augment for the set. Gator Rumble, strongest Rumble's ability, deals 190% damage and costs 30% less mana, but no longer reduces damage. Rumble also gains 50% Omnivamp. This is like a Blaster's Vanguard composition, if I am understanding this correctly. Just because Rumble is a Vanguard Blaster. He's also he's a dude. Is also, whatchamacallit, a Sugarcraft, I believe. So, you know, it's probably vertical Vanguards with like some blasters in the back. But I haven't got a chance to try it, so I don't really know how good it is. But again, we don't really have an item for it, so can't lean it, and we have no Rumbles, I think. So it's definitely gonna be Spoils of War. Sorry, I paused for a second because I thought maybe I saw a Rumble there, but no, I did not. So don't take a hero off if you don't have the fucking hero. Like, doesn't make any sense. Level 4 here because we are playing Spoils, so it looks like we are going to be playing Tempo. Picks red buff here, which is really good and actually kind of a high roll. Red buff and Morello. Let's talk about this real quick because this is a pretty good distinction to make. A lot of people, especially lower elo, kind of view red buff and Morello as interchangeable. It kind of does whatever. They do the same thing. They both burn and wound, and they provide anti-heal, which you are correct. That's what they both do. But the difference is that red buff is better in the early game, Morello is better in the late game. And the reason being is because red buff provides a lot of attack speed. And attack speed gives you way more autos per fight, increasing your DPS quite a bit. The amount of AP and the stats that Morello really provides is not as competitive as red buff, especially in the early game. So it's not really that great in the early game, but it's a lot better in the late game when you have really strong units with high scalings and high base numbers. And especially with all the traits unlocked and all this shit, it scales with the AP. So Morello ends up being a lot stronger late game, and the attack speed, the autos, they don't really count towards as much. Faster casts though, so you know, there's a bit of the, you know, red buff is good here and Morello is good here. Very similar, but not exactly the same. Apples to oranges or whatever. Yeah, you get the idea. Point being, red buff, very good for early tempo, and that is why we took it. Also, BT Slam, like it very much. BT is an item which, again, 80 starts are not that ideal. That guy has 3 swords, by the way. What the fuck is that? Kaito is not having a good time. I don't remember what he places this game, but remember when I talked about how it's more of an AP leaning meta? I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes 8th. Again, when it comes to AD lines, it's really just Neela Akali, which is again the 2-cost reroll Warriors board. But outside of that, Kallista's not that great, especially without any bows. You really do want to get into on her. Varus is all right. Pyro Varus I think is the main line, but I think, at least from what I understand currently, it's too early to really call it a main line. But I believe you really want to play 5 Pyro no matter what, and that actually requires a spat. So, you know, like, if I had 3 swords, I'm probably like pissing myself. That sounds like a terrible time. It looks like this Domper guy, by the way, also has a BT Slam. So it looks like we are at least one-way contested for our line. So this is going to be a bit of a problem, but we do have a Neela too. So right now we are looking a little bit better than Domper, but surprisingly enough, we both also have shitter Nikos. Not really sure what the hell is going on there, but that is interesting. It looks like we, by the way, okay, so we actually didn't have the Neela 2 yet, but now we duped for the Neela 2, which is great. I like this play a lot. In case you didn't know, basically, sometimes people will be a little too greedy with their Nikos, but if you use it and it makes sense, that's very generic. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that in this scenario, Rain is duping her Neela here and not greeting the duplicator because despite the fact that she may want to lean towards Neela Akali and contest the line, by duping now, she actually secures her 5-win streak here. And that is really good. And that fight, at least to me, looked like a dupe diff. You might not think so, but I thought so. So I think she made the correct choice here, securing her 5 streak. And that dupe not only just costs 2 gold, that costed us like that saved us way more gold. So I like that play a lot. Looks like we're getting jumped from Krugs here. Belt. I don't know if we had a belt already, but belt tier chain, not that ideal here. And that is a crazy shop. Holy fuck. That is, wow. So that was 3 Swains and a Varus. So that shop, wow, on level 5 odds. That is crazy. So this is a pretty good thing to know, by the way. If the game gives you like a pretty strong unit, especially for the mid game, and you are like, I don't really see how it fits on my board, try to make it fit. You'd be surprised at how flexible you can be and how well you can weave and change the traits and shit. Because in this case, even though we don't really want to be playing around with shapeshifters and stuff, finding the Swain 2 out of thin air, it's a Swain 2 is a Swain 2. That is a strong fucking front line. So find a way to make it fit. And in her case, she had a Jace that she found, so she was able to play shapeshifters here and then just made it work, and we'll jam it in for now and then we'll figure it out later. But going to a 3-2 augment here, nothing here is actually new. So misconnections, Pandora's items, and lunch money. Real quick, if you are a psychopath, but you want to have a lot of fun, lunch money you could take here, because spoils of war lunch money, that's a lot of fucking money. You also need a really strong board, so you'd have to play like hyper aggressive, and there is you are playing too aggressive point. Like, it's a spectrum, and you are going deep off the deep end by taking lunch money in a spot like this. So definitely not lunch money here. Like I said before, when it comes to trying to make and jam shit onto a board that makes sense, currently we're playing around Eldritch, and Swain, who is a Frost shapeshifter, doesn't really fit in, but there is an Eldritch shapeshifter unit. Elise. That's a little pop quiz for you there. It is Elise. Elise is a 1-cost who is both an Eldritch and shapeshifter. So misconnections here actually does make a bit of sense, but again, we do have spoils, so we kind of want to combat augment here. Spoils is sort of our equal augment, if you will. That is dependent on our board strength, so we do want combat here when possible. So I can understand taking it, but because this Swain already kind of fits, I can see not taking misconnections and re-rolling, trying to find some level of damage. Rogue Rejuvenation. This is also a brand new augment, the middle one here that she re-rolled for. It is basically Stand United, but for Omnivamp. Not that great in general. It's okay if you have like a AD melee board, but it has, for some reason, your items got like fucked up the ass, and like you just don't have a BT or a Hodge somewhere. Sure, take it. You need the Omnivamp, but it's not an augment I would really say is like that great in general, but maybe it's good. I don't know. This is more of like a stats thing, but in my heart of hearts, we have a BT. Why the fuck do we need it? I don't want it. So yeah, personally, me not taking that. And again, I would reroll lunch money. I want to reroll lunch money immediately. But that's because, again, there's stakes involved in this game. So if this was ranked, I'm for sure just auto re-rolling lunch money here. But it looks like Rain actually re-rolls left side and then finds Final Resistance, and then finds Featherweights. So Final Resistance, also a brand new augment. Each time an allied champion dies, you 30% sunder and shred the nearest 4 enemies for 6 seconds. So it's an okay augment. It does give your board shred and stuff, but like, I mean, like, it's the way that the conditions to get the shred is weird during a fight, so I don't really like it. Like, your unit needs to die to get the thing. It's not ideal, but it's fine. I mean, it's a silver augment for a silver augment, right? And it's definitely better than featherweights here, because featherweights, we are not going to play Neela and Akali here because we are contested, which makes a lot of sense. I know we talked about already how she was 1-way contested during this game. She's actually 4-way contested, if you've been very prudent. 4 people are trying to play around like BT, Hodge, and these AD melee lines, specifically Akali, Neela, which is not that good. So that is something that is like kind of tough to swallow, like getting 4-way contested in most scenarios, unless you are playing on the multicaster patch at 9. No comp sustains 4 players 4 ways. So yeah. Anyways, makes a lot of sense why she just decides to try to push her level here. And actually, speaking of pushing level to play aggressive, because she levels to 7 here, a round early ahead of tempo, and is playing a level 7 board on 3-3. So already, look at that. Oh my god, look at the fucking money. I think this is really prudent as well, because here's the thing: the charm that she bought this round is a dummy, and every time that dummy takes damage, it actually drops a little bit of money. So because she's playing spoils, plus that dummy guaranteeing at least some level of money as long as it's getting smacked, she's probably making 30 in that spot, and I'm pretty sure she calculated that she would be at like 26, and farming 4 gold is not too out of the question, especially how strong our board is if we're playing up a unit. So for certain, made a lot of sense to aggressively level here, because in general, when you are aggressively leveling, the sort of sweet number to be hitting is like 30-ish. If you aggressive level, you got like 10 gold left, it's really tough to rebuild that economy back, because you kind of have to like buy things every once in a while, because you'll natural some units, and it gets difficult. But if usually 30 is the magic number, because if you make 30, then you're making 40. If you make 40, you make 50. It's basically within 2 rounds, you're already back to 50. You're basically paying like 3 gold to play up a whole unit, which is really good in most scenarios when you're playing aggressive in particular. So this makes a lot of sense to me. She secures 9 streaks so far, which is really nice here. Makes 50 again, so we're actually level 750 here. So this is actually a fantastic spot to be in. So this is, again, this is actually, by the way, this is what really separates a lot of the pro players from like even like high challenger to like mid to low challenger. And this obviously extends further down the ladder, but they know how to make really strong boards throughout the mid game by still being as economically efficient as possible. So if you notice, her board actually has a bunch of upgrades: Ashe 2, Swain 2, Neela 2, Akali 2, right? She's playing around her upgrades and upgrading units to tempo her throughout stage 3. And if she were to not find these upgrades, she's actually quite a bit of them, let's be real. But let's not cut the bullshit though. A top challenger player would still look at that spot, and if they were like 2 or 3 pairs away, a lot of players would like maybe not actually roll sometimes, which is not the correct decision. Especially if you're sitting on some like really important pairs, your valuable pairs, you should be rolling just a tiny bit throughout stage 2 and stage 3 to just try and ensure that you can just maintain your streak. But here in this scenario, I'm actually going to be slowing down the speed here to 1x speed. The reason why is because we are doing a big roll down. We're going to be start looking for the units that we're looking for. So we find a Briar, which is great. She can use the BT, very AD melee centric, plus the Swain shapeshifters in, very good. Shyvana pair as well is great. Maybe dragons play around Smolder as like sort of our backline. We do find a couple more Akalis here, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. We already have Akali 2 on our board. We find a Fiora, which is good. We can play around Fiora. We do have a Gwen as well. Maybe Gwen could be fine here because we do have a Rod. We do find a Tom Kench, but we end up just completely selling it away, which is kind of interesting. Sitting on Smolder pair, but we end up selling it. So now we're sitting on Gwen pair, Fiora pair, Nico pair, Shyvana pair, and a Neela replacement. So, TLDR, that fucking sucked. That's terrible. We're sitting on 4 pairs, 4 high value pairs, by the way, which is really awful because here's the thing: if we're on Gwen pair but Fiora Uno, like 1 copy of Fiora, we'd probably slam like JG or Gunblade in this scenario actually, rather than the way that we slam now, which I believe was an IE. Reason being is that because like we could have played BT with like what? Oh, actually no. Whoa. Gunblade BT sounds horrid. Do we have 2 swords or 1 sword? I think we had 1 sword. It would be like BT JG on Gwen. My apologies, misspoke. Right, but like we could have played towards that a little bit more. But now we have to kind of like, we're at this weird equilibrium of like, oh, there's a bunch of pairs and we don't know what we're gonna hit, so we don't know what to play around. So this really sucks. It's not a spot you want to be in. Combat Caster just seems to be the really obvious choice here for our 4-2 augments here. Spellblade, new augment. Whenever one of your champions casts, next attack deals bonus magic damage equal to 175% of their AP. We're not playing magic. We can ignore this. Bounce budget makes no sense. We have enough econ. Don't need it. Middle and left side, roll. Combat bandages. What the fuck was that accent? First time each ally unit falls below 50% HP, they restore a little bit of their HP over 2 seconds. So this is kind of like, if you remember the augment second win back from like, I think it was set 7 it was around, because I remember in Lagoons you'd want to play, I mean a whole like Lagoon video that kind of popped up a while back. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Not to do my own alright, shut up. Not you, me, sorry. But not like I would fucking know if you're talking. Regardless, okay, it's Combat Caster. Let's just like come on, wake up. So we take the charm here. You know why, right? It's a combat augment. We want more combat power because we're playing spoils. Yeah, we get it. Okay, yada. So Fiora pair, great. Oh, interesting. Okay, so hold on a minute. So I thought we were Fiora paired. We were not Fiora paired, and I went on that whole tangent about how we were Fiora paired and Gwen paired, and I didn't know what to do. I guess it would have been really hard to kill the second sword, so it makes sense to slam IE here. Okay, that makes a lot of sense actually. So yeah, we did have 2 swords, so that makes sense. And then that's why we're not playing around Gwen. We're trying to play around Fiora or Briar, depending on what we find. But it looks like, I mean, we're Briar 1, and so okay, now we're Briar paired. So it looks like we're playing Briar or Fiora as one of our 2 main carries. They're both AD melee carries, so this could be good for either. You might also notice that on her bench, she actually has like a little biscuit that she can actually feed towards Briar. This is actually part of her new trait, which is called Ravenous. It's a unique trait. Basically, you can use this biscuit on Briar. It costs 3 HP, and she gains, I believe it's... Oh, fuck. I researched it right before this video because I knew Briar was going to be part of this, and then I forgot. Oh, God. Okay, you guessed too. My guess is damage amp. Ravenous. Alright, what'd you guys say? I said damage amp. So it looks like... Okay, my fault. The correct answer... Did you block in yet? The correct answer is... You feed her a light snack to give her 150 HP in exchange for 3 health. But, I wasn't entirely wrong because she actually gains percentage damage amp, specifically 0.6% according to Tactics.Tools at the time of recording this. 0.6% damage amp for each player health you are missing. So there's damage amp in there. I just happen to just think of it in the wrong way. But anyways, I don't know if you can also hear Rain kind of go like, where the fuck is my units? Which I don't blame her. Like, look at her fucking spot. Briar paired, Nasus pair, Nico pair, Gwen pair, Fiora pair. That is tough. And they're all expensive pairs. And she actually loses her streak because this is such a Mort Dog special, man. This is so unfortunate. It is what it is, though. Unfortunately, because we're sitting on so many pairs, it is incredibly efficient for us to keep rolling. Well, we can't really roll anymore though because it doesn't really make any sense. And actually, we can actually start. This is a pretty interesting tidbit here. I wouldn't be surprised if she actually starts selling like the Nico pair. Maybe the Nasus pair. I'm not really entirely sure about that one. I don't think Nasus pair. I personally wouldn't. But the reason is because the Nico pair is really effective while we're on streak. But now that we actually are not on streak anymore, we're not as concerned about trying to protect our streak. Not every upgrade is an upgrade. So now we only want to focus our economy onto our more important pairs. So things like our Fiora, things like our Gwen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start selling the Nikos here. And I don't think we sell the Nasus just because I think it's Nasus over Swing here. Okay, so Swing 2 for the Nico 2 here. That's... Oh, okay, no, okay, this is nice. Yeah. Sell the Nikos here. Nice. Oh. That's a cook. That's a cook. Very well done. Sorry, I had to pause. I was so excited. She was prudent enough to not make the Nico 2 because she knew that she was going to play around the Nasus 2 anyways as a substitution for the Swain. And she was not going to play higher than 2 Shapeshifter. So she sold the Nico and she sold the Swains and did not lose her money there. Very, very good. Oh, so good. It looks like, okay, I don't know. For some reason, I looked away and it looks like we made a Briar 2, but we did not find a Fiora 2. Mortdog Special. I am a little surprised to see that she chose not to remake the Fiora here. I feel like in a scenario like this, we are now playing around Briar 2, Gwen 2 duo carry, which makes a lot of sense to me, especially because if we're going to be committing snacks or essentially HP to the Briar here, I feel like it would make a lot more sense to make the Briar our main carry and then Fiora just like sort of like the secondary carry. It looks like we did manage to find the Fiora 2, which is great though, but again, this is sort of the, I guess it's the max cap. But Briar, again, is she a tank? I don't really view her as a tank. I feel like BTIE Briar is totally fine. I believe she does have 80 scalings as well. This is a question for Tactics.tools. I don't really know. I also have not had the privilege to play Briar. In case you didn't know, my PBE accounts have been fucking bugged. Like the whole PBE time. And then I was doing PBE, Project PBE stuff. And I was admitting all that shit. Then by the time I figured out how to get it working, earlier today, aka, I played like 2 games today. And then I BM'd the fuck out of Subzero, and I talked trash before we started, and then I went 7th, and like, god damn it. It's fine though. It's fine. I'm not salty about it. Point is, let's recollect our thoughts. Focus on the game here. So, looks like it is currently 5-3, and honestly, the spot's solid. We don't have to roll. There's nothing else to roll for really. In terms of our items here, just a Hodge here will probably be great here. I don't really know where this QSS came from, but it looks like we got a QSS onto our Briar here. I guess maybe we found a component or an item from spoils. Is there anything else that could get? Maybe it was from Sugarcraft. It's probably from spoils though, because this is not layer 7 yet. So we probably spoiled a QSS, which is also odd to me that we put it on Briar. I think QSS on Fiora makes way more sense. If you've played this Fiora unit before, I got to play her today for the first time. QSS should feel really good on her. I'm saying should because when I played Fiora and I didn't have a QSS on her, she just kept getting CC'd for days, and I fucking hated that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Fiora actually really likes QSS as one of her items. It would be like QSS BT Stair Racks or some. I mean, that sounds like it's not gonna do any fucking damage. Maybe QSS BTIE sounds kind of solid because then the crit's working in there. You see, you feel me? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I feel like QSS would have been a lot better on the Fiora here. Briar is kind of like, she has so much HP, like, even if she gets, like, CC, it doesn't really matter. So, again, I'm a bit surprised to see that. That does seem a bit odd to me, that she would run that route. But maybe Briar, like, also really hates getting CC or something. I don't fucking know. But it's a tank Briar, so it's not like you'd want... That's probably the most odd decision I've seen, like, this whole game. I really don't... That and, like, the not selling the Fiora, were probably, like, the 2 points where I was like, that seems a little odd. But, regardless... Rain is a much better player than I am, so fuck me. Like, I'm probably wrong. I mean, I don't think I'm probably wrong. Like, when you're playing the game in real... Okay, by the way, pause. What are we taking here? Deathblade? I mean, I guess. Yeah, 80 item. Okay. It could have been Hodge. Nah, that's probably fine. Like, Deathblade. I mean, we have an IE, amplification, right? You want the stats of every item to work off each other. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, I'm down for Deathblade. Oh, holy shit, and then we won. Congratulations, well done. And then that does it for the video. Holy fuck, I feel like I rambled there. Sorry about that. Yeah. But anyways, I mean, this is a cool game. This was fun. I like this a lot. But Gwen Fiora, by the way, this is a composition. I did want to cover this video because I did see what place she went before the video had started. Sorry. But I also saw a little bit as to what her board kind of looked like. And I knew it was Fiora Gwen to some degree. I didn't know the Miura was in there. But I know this is a composition that I feel like people recently within my circles have sort of started to realize. Gwen Fiora has been like kind of interesting, like with Preservers, with Morgana, and maybe Briar gets thrown in there. Maybe like the Bard and yada yada yada. You get the idea. But it's a really cool comp. I really want to showcase it, and I thought Rain overall played very, very well. But that basically does it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys all later. Take care, guys, and bye-bye now. Happy climbing.